There's a new American president-elect, which is an old president, President Donald Trump. Quite a convincing victory over Kamala Harris. We have no thoughts on how this will affect Americans, or at least this is not the place to share. But what we will share today is how it can affect Malaysians. So I think the key foreign involved thing that Trump has wishes to implement, I think, is tariff. He did it in his first term, and more importantly, not only did he do it in his first term, he did it without much objection from the American bureaucracy. Because a lot of people don't understand that the American president actually does not have as much power as you think. Too busy to find stock ideas? Check out Fiverr Pro to shortcut your research time and effort by 90%. 10% off link in the comments and description. He can say, I want this, but it can be blocked by, Congress or the Senate and all that. Or the bureaucracy makes it difficult and tries to convince him that he cannot do it.
Yep.
So whenever something goes through by the president, it means that the bureaucracy must have, if not agree with it, but also at least be able to execute it. So the key thing is that the tariffs are not just a Donald Trump thing, it is an America thing. So the first fact would be tariffs on 60% of Chinese goods, Chinese products. Right? Because China is the big one. I think after that would probably be Mexico. For other imports, about 10 to 20%, and then 100% on Mexican avocados, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's also a reason why he wants to impose 100% on Mexican-made products, because there's a lot of Chinese manufacturing
that goes through
Mexico. Yeah, that's why he wants to ban.
Including the fentanyl, which is the drug.
Exactly. And then, but what's more concerning is just the 10 to 20% blanket tariff towards other imports, which means basically almost everyone will be affected. So yeah, Trump is a tariff man, so that is something you need to know, and he's a very unpredictable guy. But what's good about him is that he's a peacemaker. So he did mention that he will try to end the Russia-Ukraine war as soon as possible. For the Middle East one, he also will try to calm down a little bit on the tension between Iran and Israel. You can see that he's a good friend with the Israel's the government. So yeah, I think he would try to make peace on all of these wars. Okay, so that's the global scene. But what it is his impact on Bursa? So before that, we need to see that how is the US and China's dynamic will impact the Malaysia economy. So if you guys didn't know, this one was depicted from the age issue. Malaysia is a net exporter to the US, especially for high value added goods, but we are a net importer from China because of these entry, intermediate, and capital goods. Basically, they all like supplying those very cheap raw material stuff, all the stuff for us to assemble those machines. Yeah, that's actually mainly coming from China, and especially for the infrastructure work. Some of their technical expertise on how we can build the ECRL and whatnot is also coming from them. And what is interesting is over here, a rise in 1% in US economy is going to contribute 1.7% increase in Malaysia's manufacturing sector, and is higher than China's, which is 1.13% if their GDP increased by 1%. So that means that the US economy, if let's say they are becoming better, Malaysia's export and also economy will be better off. So this is just a few main highlights, few main points that we want to highlight. And maybe one last point is our E&E sector also, it is very important because it's highly contributed by the US economy as well. So yeah, when Trump got elected, basically the KLCI rallied a little bit. Yeah, but so does the USD to ringgit.
So it's like a cancellation. It's a bit like,
Yeah. We shall see what sectors will be benefiting and which sectors will be detriment. Okay, so the first one will be steel and aluminium. This one will be benefiting. Obviously, you can see before that, we already know that PA Resources, which is one of the aluminium extrusion guy for First Solar. So that's why they got a US zero tariff decision. And maybe not only from PA Resources, but from other local steel players as well. So definitely that will create a benefit for this sector. The second one is tech. I mean, you can see that tech rebounded the most. I mean, partly also is because it has been like down for very long
Depressed,
already. Yeah, it has been depressed. So when Trump got elected, Tesla stock actually skyrocketed for a while.
30%, something like that.
And then that actually brought Genentech to actually go up 40% in one day. So that's also another, I'll say, it's a very, very remarkable rebound. But in general, tech is just like doing well after Trump's election. The third one, glove. I think this one is no surprise. I think we got mentioned this before. So basically, they'll be going to do a tariff, which is going to be a 50% increase in 2025 and 100% in 2026. So you can see that this is actually a chart for the US medical and surgical glove import composition from Malaysia and China. So you can see that during Trump's very, very aggressive tariff time, the Malaysia actually benefited from the trade diversion, whereas for China actually start to reduce. So we can see, probably can see similar trend where Malaysia will benefit because of this tariff, and then China's one would start to reduce. Fourth one, plantation. This one have to do, obviously, to do with CPO prices, but the reason why they may be benefiting is because how China will actually retaliate against US tariff, right?
It's buying less soybean.
Yes, exactly. So you can see that this is the amount of soybeans that is actually purchased from the US. This is during the trade war time in 2017 to 2019. The amount actually dropped. So if let's say the US impose more tariff, the 60% and whatsoever, right, it will definitely impact some more over here. So this one will be the next key thing, whether you reduce more, and probably palm oil, they will likely to be buying more of that lah. And you also can see that kind of like contributed also probably to the rally on the CPO prices, which has breached 5,000 ringgit per ton. Now, it will be bad for energy. Simply because he is a oil man. He's gonna like ramp up production for the shale, and he likes cheap oil prices. So this is his during his election 2016 to 2020. You can see that oil price is actually not even above 70. Maybe at this point of time, slightly, but then it went down a little bit.
Basically flat.
Yeah, flat. So most likely, we're not sure, but probably if let's say what he's planning to do, right, probably he wants to reduce the USD per barrel in terms of Brent oil.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it will hit to like 60
He wants
US
to increase the production on the pipelines in the US.
And then you also, on top of that, you also have the China's economy is not doing well. So it means they are not really purchasing much. So demand shrinking, then supply increasing, definitely impact the oil prices. So travel one, it will benefit. Obviously have to link to the oil price. So these have to do with your airline guys, like your AAX. So you can see that jet fuel price and also crude oil price are pretty correlated. So if let's say jet fuel price start to like drop, it will be less cost for the aircraft guys to actually buy their raw material. So that will definitely improve their profits in the future. Transportation also be detriment because Trump is a peacemaker, right? And this is a video that we talk about in our catalyst that will drive Malaysia's key sectors to growth. So you can see the logistics sector. Initially, we have to go through a very long route to the Cape of Good Hopes, then to US side, right? So what if actually he managed to solve the issue between the Middle East, right? Then most likely we can actually go back to the Suez Canal, to the Bab al-Mandeb, and then it will be much ease in terms of logistic time, and also lead time will definitely be lesser, and hence your freight rate will most likely be dropping because everything is just going back to normal as compared to like previously where there's like supply disruption. Okay, final one, plastic. This one, I think we never talked about plastic packaging for the longest time already. Finally, I think they may be benefiting because of obviously resin prices. That's one of the major costs also to produce.
If it drops, then
so when it drops, probably their profit also will be increasing. And I think there's not many institutions talking about plastic packaging or even furniture to put it to perspective. So that industry is kind of like beaten down. Probably is something that you may want to watch out for.
Too busy to find stock ideas? Check out Fire Pro to shortcut your research time and effort by 90%. 10% off link in the comments and description.
So you can see that after he got elected, the first two sectors actually went out was technology and also plantation. So and plantation is the obvious one because you can see the CPO price has been rallying, so that's why they also. Okay, so some of the takeaways, some sectors are not mentioned over here, which is your property, construction, utilities.
It's more internal.
Yeah, it's more internal, so it's very neutral. That's why we didn't really mention about that. Gold also actually, to me, gold is I think it's like a net cancelling effect, because when Trump is gonna be there, he wants to make America great again, right? So he wants to pour in. He wants to attract more foreigners to actually invest into the US economy. So that means the US dollar will be appreciating. So if your dollar is appreciating, right, I think less people will actually want to like hold gold. So yeah, it's like a cancelling effect, because on one hand also, people may want to buy gold because to hedge against like certain inflation and whatnot. And on the other hand, the US will be striving. So yeah. The second one is Elon Musk influence. So this one is basically maybe Trump will be less strict on China because of Elon Musk. It could be that case, right? Because Elon Musk, if you didn't know, he has a factory in China as well.
That's right.
So for the team to actually relocate everything from China Gigafactory to US is going to be a little bit
But
tough.
I think the flip side to this is if he employs very punitive tariffs on Chinese products, Tesla cars will be more competitive in China. Because if you look at the largest EV maker now is BYD, right? They got so many brands, and then there's just BYD. There's a lot of other smaller ones, your Cherries and all that, in China that are coming in. So if you take BYD and you take the smaller brands, you're talking about more than 50% of market share. So if they come, not in the US, but just globally, right? So if they come into the US, they will definitely be cheaper than Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Tesla's trying to be cheaper, but I don't see how it can be cheaper than Chinese cars itself. So if he slaps the tariffs, then it gives the Tesla a benefit actually.
So that's the second one. The third one is rebuttal with the Fed. So yeah, if you didn't know, there's an interview with the Fed. I think somebody asked the Fed, what if Donald Trump decided to like fire you? Then
He said he won't step down. Yeah,
he won't step down.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a private thing. But then and also another reason is because the Fed is trying to like curb inflation at the moment. So it's trying to reduce interest rate, trying to like keep inflation at 2% as its target. But with Trump's policy coming in, right, most likely he is going to be increasing inflation instead because of all of these deglobalization act that he's doing. So there is some sort of fight between the Fed and also the US government. But we shall see how it actually turns out. The second last one is who benefits in the end. I think the Americans will definitely be benefiting. But for how long, I think that's another question, because you are actually restricting yourself from using cheap or disinflationary products from China, and you are actually trying to increase costs for your own citizens.
Real interesting thing so I think Trump is trying to be innovative on tariffs. So because most people, when they think of tariffs, they are thinking of this thing called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, which is in the 30s that happened, which had the same like Trumpian mindset of, you want to protect American industries, right? That actually caused like inflation, and it was bad. People can go and research, right? So what Trump is trying to be different is that he's trying to actually lower corporate taxes and increase tariffs, and he's saying that the net effect will be positive. I don't know. I to my knowledge, I've not heard anyone says this. Where yes, it's true, there's going to be inflation as a result, but if I reduce taxes, then I will have more money to buy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, true also. So, yeah.
And we'll buy American-made products. And then even those who pay for the Chinese products won't feel so burdened because they have more money now thanks to taxes.
Yeah. So this one is actually still hard to tell, like what is the net effect on his policy. But the last one is definitely is going to be impacting us because of oil prices going down. So is roughly going to be estimated is going to be like down now. But we don't know whether it's going to be lower than what our Malaysia government actually estimate, because according to their budget 2025 estimates for revenue, right, I think they predicted that oil price will hover around 75 USD per barrel. So what if the number goes down, right? Does that mean that, our government are forced to increase more tax alternatively, because they cannot collect more revenues from petroleum, right, as a result of oil price going down. So yeah, probably I would say this is a very high chance that Malaysia's GDP will not stay at a very high level for a very long time. Probably it will go down or maybe like stagnant a little bit. So yeah, that's about it. And if you want to know what companies we are actually buying even before the Trump election or post-Trump election, or what sectors that we think are interesting. You can check out Fire Pro. And
quite a few of the names in our portfolio actually benefited, right? I think there was two that had a big bump after the Trump elections.
Yeah, Tech and also Plantation is over there, and that also helped the portfolio a little bit. Right now, I believe it's around 45%, for 46%. Spoiler, and also our borrowing portfolio also has been doing very well because the institutions are actually paying more attention to dividend stocks. FPG also, I think, is slightly okay. And we added a few more companies as well. If you are interested in international companies or global companies, right? We'll try to add more, maybe some US names, or maybe even Vietnam, Singapore.
Yeah, Vietnam.
Singapore. So So if you are interested in global foreign stocks, make sure to check it, the FPG portfolio. And if you want to get a taste on Fire Pro on how we write our reports, how we analyze company, their prospect risks, you can actually read our free sample. The links will be in the description and comments down below. And with that said, we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.